centuries images have been projected onto surfaces. The camera obscura and the camera lucida were used by artists to trace scenes as early as the 16th century. These early cameras did not fix an image in time, but only projected what passed through an opening in the wall of the darkened room onto a surface. In effect, the entire room was turned into a large pinhole camera. Indeed, the phrase camera obscura literally means darkened room, and it is after these darkened rooms that all modern cameras have been named. The first photograph is considered to be an image produced in 1826 by the French inventor Nip von Nipkow, a polished pewter plate covered with a petroleum derivative called bitumen of Judea. It was produced with a camera, and required an 8-hour exposure in bright sunshine. However, this process turned out to be a dead end, and Nick began experimenting with silver compounds, based on a Johann Heinrich Schultz discovery in 1724 that a silver and chalk mixture darkens when exposed to GHT.
The artist Louis Daguerre, in Paris, refined the existing silver process in a partnership. In 1833, Nips died of a stroke, leaving his notes to Daguerre. While he had no scientific background, Daguerre made two pivotal contributions to the process. He discovered that by exposing the silver first to iodine vapor, before exposure to light, and then to mercury fumes after the photograph was taken, a latent image could be formed and made visible by then bathing the plate in a salt bath. The image could be fixed. In 1839, Daguerre announced that he had invented a process using silver on a copper plate called the daguerreotype. A similar process is still used today for Polaroids. The French government bought the patent and immediately made it public domain across the English Channel. William Fox Talbot had earlier discovered another means to fix a silver process image but had kept it secret. After reading about Daguerre's invention, Talbot refined his process so that it might be fast enough to take photographs of people as Daguerre had done, and by 1840 he had invented the collotype process. He coated paper sheets with silver chloride to create an intermediate negative image. Unlike a daguerreotype, a collotype negative could be used to reproduce positive prints, like most chemical films do today. Talbot patented this process, which greatly limited its adoption. He spent the rest of his life in lawsuits defending the patent until he gave up on photography altogether. But later this process was refined by George Eastman and is today the basic technology used by chemical film cameras. Hippolyte Bayard also developed a method of photography but delayed announcing it, and so was not recognized as its inventor. In the darkroom in 1851, Frederick Scott Archer invented the collodion process. It was the process used by Louis Carroll. Slovene John S. Puter invented the technical procedure for making photographs on glass in 1841. The invention was recognized on July 17, 1852 in Paris by the Académie Nationale Agricole. Manufacturer et commerciale. The daguerreotype proved popular in responding to the demand for portraiture emerging from the middle classes during the Industrial Revolution. This demand, that could not be met in volume and then caused by oil painting, may well have been the push for the development of photography. However, daguerreotypes, while beautiful, were fragile and difficult to copy. A single photograph taken in a portrait studio could cost $1,000 and $2,006. Photographers also encouraged chemists to refine the process of making many copies cheaply. which eventually led them back to Talbot's process. Ultimately, the modern photographic process came about from a series of refinements and improvements in the first
same 20 years. In 1884, George Eastman of Rochester, New York, developed dry gel on paper or film to replace the photographic plate so that a photographer no longer needed to carry boxes of plates and toxic chemicals around. In July of 1888, Eastman's Kodak camera went on the market with the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." Now anyone could take a photograph and leave the complex parts of the process to others. Photography became available for the mass market in 1901 with the introduction of Kodak Brownie. Since then, color film has become standard, as well as automatic focus and automatic exposure. Digital recording of images is becoming increasingly common, as digital cameras allow instant previews on LCD screens, and the resolution at top-of-the-range models has exceeded high-quality 35mm film, while lower-resolution models have become affordable. For the enthusiast photographer processing black and white film, little has changed since the introduction of the 35mm film Leica camera in 1925.
As we're both under the moon, gazing straight at the stars, watching the world go by, you lay in my arms, head upon my shoulders, both just holding hands. We both not saying a word, 'cause what we need we have.